Hello everyone. Sorry it's been a while since I've uploaded a video. I've been busy with some personal issues that have taken up quite a bit of time and energy and mental thought. To be honest with you guys, I'm fighting to get into my home. I have unwanted guests, and at this point they are trespassers in my home. So I've been forced to fight them, to remove them from my property. These people never paid rent, they never asked, and I did nothing but try to make their lives better. In turn, they have betrayed me, and now they must leave my property. And that's why it's been a while since I've uploaded a video. So I apologize, but I thought that I'd share that personal issue with my subscribers and my viewers. Now, with that said, let's move on to the video. Here we have early New Yorkers descending what appears to be some primitive ride, descending in what appears to be some sort of toboggan or sled down a watery chute, nearly escaping death at every descent. Just things that Inheritors did for fun back then. In this scene, it's a short clip that I found of some ships bringing the Inheritors into the new world from the old, and we see how terrifying it must have been for them to be brought into this steel prison, this concrete jungle, new sights and new sounds, with no clear concept of what they were being brought into to replace people that they would never know. So here we are. And what's strikingly odd and kind of surreal is how similar this is to the 1906 footage of San Francisco. So what that leads others and myself to believe is that this was also staged, just like the San Francisco film. We see almost the same movement by the Inheritors, and it's almost identical to the San Francisco film. But regardless, we get to have a glimpse into what life was like in New York for these Inheritors. But I want you to really study this scene and how similar it is to the footage from San Francisco. I mean, we have essentially trolley cars, we have the same carriages, the same people jaywalking right in front of the trolley cars and the carriages. I mean, it's almost as if it was a textbook formulation of how to present a big city to the rest of the world. And the movement and the behavior and the manner of dress identical to the opposite coast at the same time. And what always strikes me odd is how some Inheritors seem to be a little bit more suspicious, let's say. That there's a certain cadence to their walk, there's a certain demeanor that separates them from the lower class Inheritors, almost as if they were controllers or watchers or finders, people looking for things out of the ordinary so they can snatch them off and get them out of the way before they cause problems. You notice their subtle movements sometimes. They blend in with the other Inheritors, but it's almost as if they've ascended in rank. Now here we have New York in 1911. Here's the Statue of Liberty, and this collection of vignettes that I found is also interesting. It offers another snapshot, another glimpse into what life may have been like for these Inheritors. The steamships, the vanilla skies, the newly, although possibly not newly, constructed bridges, the ferries, the steamships, the boats, the transportation, the hats, everywhere, the hats, the manner of dress, albeit modest, but still impractical. Just constantly terrified of the sun, carrying parasols. Regardless, work got done, but at an alarming pace that we have no evidence of, other than horses. Horses and wooden wheels, and men with hats. I apologize for my slow speech and my dry delivery, but I am in no mood to cut anyone, including these people, any breaks. They're strange, and we have a lot of disagreements in the comments in every one of my videos and on my Instagram. People saying I'm wrong and saying that my subscribers are wrong, but we're not. And the one thing for sure that we're not wrong about is that there was something strange happening in this time period. And I know that I say this in every video, but so does everyone else who covers the subject. And we're just merely looking for answers, looking for an explanation as to why this time period was so vastly different. And it's not just the fashion or the culture or the music or any other aspect of human life. There was something fundamentally different about this America. There was something fundamentally off about it compared to now. And it's not simply due to becoming more civilized or technologically advanced. One could even argue that they were just as technologically advanced in their own particular way, and that there was things that were hidden from them and hidden from us. Here we have the Flatiron Building, famous building still standing there prominently in the background. And we just see people going about being polite, tipping their hats to each other as they were trained to do, day in, day out. Not too much different, I suppose. But look at the buildings. Always with the buildings. These people didn't build these buildings. And they don't know who built these buildings. They were just here. And they were always here. And they don't know any different. The thing about New York and San Francisco, opposite ends of the country, but connected in the similar story of a vast building in an unrealistic amount of time. And once again, I'll remind you, the viewer, of how strikingly similar this film is to one produced in San Francisco around the same time. And I suggest, if you haven't seen that, to go and find it and watch it and compare for yourself. Now here we see what I can only assume is a very upper class, if not wealthy family being escorted, being chauffeured around New York City. And I want you to look at what I assume is the patriarch, which is the father, there in the front seat with a little girl in his lap, and he's got a top hat there. And I want you to really look at that guy. And I want you to tell me that there isn't something wrong with him, that there isn't something mysterious in his look. And you can rewind it and go back and look. You can pause it, you can screenshot it. And here we have a park scene, people just languishing about, enjoying the day. Here we have some men getting their shoes shined, as was the custom back then. Once again with the parasols. These people were deadly afraid of the sun. It's almost as if they came from somewhere where the sun was weak and they're not used to a strong sun. And once again, just take it in, because footage like this is only going to get harder and harder to find. We're lucky that we have what we have, that we can study these people beyond just the fashion and the modes of transportation. We really need to start studying every aspect of this time period, because as time goes by, my prediction is that it'll be harder to find these relics, these small vignettes of life in the early 20th century. Here we have the vastly superior to the rest of the time period, and that famous New York skyline, giant skyscrapers in 1911, no rhyme or reason. At the Brooklyn Bridge, the trolleys, dangerously close to the pedestrians. It's almost as if they didn't fear death. It's almost as if things were just the way they were, and no one questioned the safety of the transportation. It must have been exciting, adventurous, and often terrifying for these people, but probably better than where they came. Beautiful buildings and ugly signs seems to be the hallmark of the reset. Why would you affix such hideous signs to such beautiful buildings? It must have been very, very interesting, to say the least, to see such juxtaposition between the old world and the new for these people. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.